is called to order. Everybody is requested to rise for the singing of national anthem.
Bayang magiliw, pelas ng silanganan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Lupang hinirang, buyan ka ng magiliw, sa manlulupi, di ka pasisingil, sa dagat at bundok, sa simoy at sa langit mo bahaw, may nilang ang tula at awit sa paglayang minamahal, ang kisap ng watawat mo'y tagumpay na nanginginig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pang may magdidilim, lupa ng araw ng marahangin pagsinta, buhay langit sa piling mo, aming ligaya na pag may mamapit at namatay ng dahil sa'yo.
Please remain standing for the invocation to be led by Representative Jericho Nograles.
Almighty God, our Father, as we implore your aid to build a just and humane society, we humbly ask that you inspire us with your grace. Bless the legislators and the Secretariat of the House of Representatives, the House of the People, that we may never forget our fundamental responsibility to be stewards of the Filipino people. The 17th Congress is at its halfway point, and there are greater challenges ahead. We thank you for the opportunity to make meaningful change through our work. May these changes always be for the better. And so we ask, Lord, that you guide us so we may have the patience to discern your holy will. And through this discernment, may we obtain the wisdom and strength to do your bidding. Amen.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we call the roll of members.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion to call the roll of members is hereby approved.
Roll call of members, honorable representatives, Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Asharon, Akop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adiong, Adbincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagao, Bagatsing, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batocabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biazon, Billones, Biron, Bolilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maria Vida, Brosas, Bulot Begtang, Cagas, Calalang, Calderon, Calixto Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilao, Castelo, Castro Prans, Castro Pred, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serapica, Ceriles, Chavez, Chipeco, Co, Coanco, Colliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cua, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, Del Oso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Muhammad, Duavit, Durano, D, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ebardoni, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Fuentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose Enrique, Garcia Albano, Garin Oscar, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachalian, Heron, Go Ana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriceta, Gulias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hopper, Halos Hos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lazatin, Liachon, Lee, Lim Kaishong, Lobregat, Lopez Benhar, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangodadato Suharto, Mangodadato Sahid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Oaminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Bininola, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radaza, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sandoval, Sancopan, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar Mary, Sabeliano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Tebes, Tiangco, Ting, Tinio, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Biolago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Maria Carmen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate Subiri. Madam Speaker, the roll call shows that 229 members responded to the call.
With 229 members responding to the call, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we approve Journal Number 57, dated January 31, 2018. So move, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The journal number 57 dated January 31, 2018 is hereby approved. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we now proceed with the reference of business and request that the Secretary General be directed to read the titles of bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as communications and committee reports. So move, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bills and resolutions on first reading, as well as the communications and committee reports for referral to the appropriate committees.
Reference of business, bills on first reading, House Bill 7049, declaring the province of Camarines Norte as the surfing capital of the Bicol region, Representative Panotes.
To the Committee on Tourism.
House Bill number 7050 and 7067, converting certain provincial roads, Representatives Lanete and Segarbaria.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 7051, granting additional benefits and privileges to senior citizens, Representative Lanete.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
House Bill 7052, requiring the declaration of the value of imported goods in commercial documents, Representative Marcoleta.
To the Committee on Ways and Means.
House Bill 7053, excluding the services performed by employees of religious entities from employment services, Representatives Benitez, Nograles, Vergara, and Marcoleta.
To the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization.
House Bill 7055 is standardizing the COLA to 17% of the minimum wage, Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment and the Committee on Appropriations.
House Bill 7056, promoting the welfare of rehabilitated drug offenders, Representative Erice.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 7057, renewing for another 25 years the franchise granted to Radio World Broadcasting Corporation, Representative Macapagal Arroyo.
To the Committee on Legislative Franchises.
House Bill 7058 is strengthening the provincial science and technology centers of the DOST, Representative Marquez.
To the Committee on Science and Technology.
House Bill 7059, mandating the construction of a permanent evacuation center in every natural disaster-prone locality, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
House Bill 7060, establishing the Talipapa Senior High School, Representative Belmonte Jose Christopher.
To the Committee on Basic Education and Culture.
House Bill 7066, mandating golf clubs to provide health, retirement, and other benefits to golf caddies, Representative Gomark.
To the Committee on Labor and Employment.
House Bill 7068, establishing a senior citizens grievance desk in every barangay, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Population and Family Relations.
Resolutions, House Resolution 1627, congratulating, commending Ms. Catarina Sonia J. Rodriguez, Representative Villones.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1628, requesting the Joint Congressional Power Commission to inquire on purported improper and irregular awarding of renewable energy service contracts, Representative Cosalan.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1629, urging the Committee on Good Government and Public Accountability to inquire into the various alleged actions of the ERC, Representatives Alvarez and Herrera D.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1631, expressing profound condolences on the demise of film and television director Mario Margarito Mario Jorolan de los Reyes, Representative Nieto.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1632, creating a Congressional Oversight Committee on Science, Technology, and Engineering, Representatives Aumentado, Alasos, and Sambar.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1633, conducting an inquiry into the official actions taken by the PDIC, Representative Bilaro.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1634, expressing profound condolences of the House on the demise of Philippine veteran director Mario Margarito Mario Jorolan de los Reyes, Representative Olivares.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1635, condemning in the strongest possible terms the disgraceful grenade explosion that transpired in La Paz, Abra, Representative Sevillano, Ortega, De Venecia, and several others.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1637, calling to investigate by the appropriate committee on the compliance of online gaming operators, Representative Suarez.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1638, urging the Committee on Health to immediately investigate the recent report of the Institute of Molecular Biology and Biotechnology at the UP Manila's National Institute of Health on the rise of drug-resistant HIV, Representative Castelo.
To the Committee on Rules.
House Resolution 1639, mandating the appropriate committee of the House to investigate on the implementation of Republic Act 7699 in relation to to Republic Act 9994, Representative Datol.
To the Committee on Rules.
Communications letter dated January 8 of Hardy, Florida, Municipal Mayor Alyakapan, Cagayan.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated 10 January 2018 of Attorney Jose Ojobel B. Bellarmino, OIC, LRTA.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated January 12 of Saldi S. Silva, Governor, Province of Siquijor.
To the Committee on Public Works and Highways.
Letter dated January 16 of Jose Volter B. Ricaprente, Municipal Mayor, Rosario, Cavite.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Letter dated January 17 of Teresa P. Aligado, Municipal Mayor, Consolacion, Cebu.
To the Committee on Appropriations.
Subpoena ducis tecum pursuant to Section 152, Rule 23 of the Rules of the House, transmitting the subpoena ducis tecum dated August 24 of Attorney Ryan S. Kilala, Assistant Special Prosecutor to Bureau of the Office of Ombudsman.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, we have officials of the local government unit of the municipality of Diadi, Nueva Vizcaya, guest of the Honorable Luisa Lloren Quarisma of the Lone District of Nueva Vizcaya. I move that we acknowledge the following: Honorable Mayor Norma Miguel, Vice Mayor Rolito Dolnuan, Kagawad Marvic Padilla, Kagawad Warren Lunag, Kagawad Wilma Concilio, Kagawad Romel Carino, Kagawad Edgar Ilantada, Kagawad Froilan Madume, Kagawad Rodora Bilog, and Kagawad Lolito Tumakdir. I move that we acknowledge the presence of our guest, Madam Speaker.
To the guest of Representative Quaresma, welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we acknowledge the guest in our gallery of the Honorable Congressman Salvador B. Valero Jr. of ONA ang Edukasyon Party List. The students of the pamantasan ng lungsod ng Pasig, headed by Professor Iluminada Vierne. Students of the University of Caloocan City, headed by Professor Ray Hitahobe. Students of Datamax College of St. Adeline, headed by Professors Dalia Cabatlao and Professor Ruben Paquet and Dwight Entico. Scholars of ang Edukasyon Party List, Dr. April Alcazar, President of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Pasig, and Maria Cadabuna and William Cadabuna, teacher of Nalayan High School. I so move that we recognize our guest, Madam Speaker.
To the guest of Representative Belaro, you are most welcome to the House of Representatives. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading of House Bill number 6649, printed copies of which were distributed to the members, and for this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill, and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General will read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6649, an act strengthening further the pre-departure orientation program for overseas Filipino workers to include financial and entrepreneurial education, amending for the purpose of Public Act number 8042 as amended, otherwise known as the Migrant Workers and Overseas Filipinos Act of 1995. Roll call of members. Consideration House Bill number 6649. Abaya, Abayon, Abilianosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Bilyar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilia, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Marabida, Brosas, Bulubigtang, Cagas, Calalang, Calderon, Calixtrobiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Castro Franz, Castro Predinil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serapica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chupeco, Co, Cubanco, Culliantes, Cortés, Curtuna, Cusalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, Del Oso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garibin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachelian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Gomark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Arroyo Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera Hofer, Palasos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lim Kaichong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudato Suarto, Mangudato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Marino, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maliñaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primisisa Gabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarberia, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sancopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Savillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, si Alvarado, Tan Bunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherney, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tino, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, T, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Samora Marcamen, Samora Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri.
With 213 members voting in the affirmative, 0 against, 0 abstention, House Bill 6649 as having been
Yes, sir. Ito na,
approved
sir.
for third and final reading.
Oo nga.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading of House Bill number 6834, printed copies of which were distributed to the members. For this purpose, may I request that the Secretary General be directed to read the title of the bill and thereafter to call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General will read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6834, an act strengthening the right of the people to free expression, to peaceably assemble and to petition the government for redress of grievances, repealing for the purpose Batas Pambasa bilang 880 or the Public Assembly Act of 1985. Roll call of members, consideration House Bill number 6834. Abaya, Abayon, Abilianosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez Franz, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulutbigtang, Cagas, Kalalang,
Madam
Calderon,
Speaker. Madam Speaker, my vote is no, and I would like to explain my vote later.
Noted.
Yan, sinadya yan. Parang sinidyos yung death.
Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Kalalang, Calderon, Calix Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa Franz,
Madam Speaker, my vote is no, and I would like to reserve my right to explain my vote.
Yes, noted.
Castelo, Casa Franz, Casa Predenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Cubanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, Del Oso Montalia, di Maporo Abdullah, di Maporo Khalid, Duwabit, Durano, di Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhayin, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floyrendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachelian, Heron, Guana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Guruseta, Gullas, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halusos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Limkaichong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangudodato Suarto, Mangudodato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maleñaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirisato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sancopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sevillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estrita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villaraza Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Marcamen, Zamora Ronaldo, Sarate.
Madam Speaker, my vote is no, and I will explain my vote later.
Noted.
Subiri. Second call, consideration House Bill number 6834. Acosta Alba, Alonte, Bautista Bandigan, Bernos, Campos, Casafred, Gomez, Lagman, Mangawang, Nunez Malinyaon, Roman, Salceda, Zamora Marcamen, Tupas.
With 212 voting on the affirmative, 5 negative, 0 abstention, House Bill number 6834 is approved on third and final reading. May I call on Representative Rosas of Gabriela Party List to explain her no vote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, mga kapwa ko kinatawan, ang representasyong ito ay tutol sa panukalang batas House Bill 6834 kaugnay sa pag-amyenda sa mga mahahalagang probisyon ng Batas Pambansa bilang 880. Ang pagkakaroon ng mga karagdagang rekisito at paghigpit sa kalayaang makapag-organisa, magtipon ng asembleya o makapagpahayag man lang ng saloobin at kahingian sa pamahalaan ay direktang atake sa karapatang pantao. Anong klaseng pamahalaan ang gusto nating ipamandila? Tayo ba ay pamahalaan para sa mamamayan o para sa iilan? Nitong mga nakaraan lamang, nagpasa ng mga anti-mamamayang batas ang Kongreso nang hindi napakikinggan ang boses ng mamamayan. Kailan pa natin sila maririnig? Kapag mata na lang ang nangusap sapagkat dilat silang napatimbuang sa oplantokhang at extrajudicial killing, kapag tanging ang mga sikmurang kumakalam na lamang ang tunog na maririnig mula sa kanila. Naninindigan ng Gabriela Women's Party kasama ang sambayanang Pilipino na ang karapatan at kalayaan sa pamamahayag ay di lamang nararapat, dahil ito ay ginagarantiya ng saligang batas, kundi higit pa nga ay bunga ng pandaigdigang laban ng mamamayan. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Casilaw of Anak Pawis Party List, you may now explain your vote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Article 3, Section 4 of the 1987 Constitution states, "No law shall be passed abridging the freedom of speech, of expression, or of the press, or the right of people peaceably to assemble and petition the government for redress of grievances." Ang paniniwala po ng kinatawang ito, Madam Speaker, naisa nang ipasok at mawala ang Batas Pambansa 880 nung panahon na ipinatupad at ginawa ang 1987 Constitution. Alam po natin, BP 880 is a product of a Marcosian policy implemented during martial law years. Lumusot ito at nagpatuloy habang nandyan ang pagkilala sa batayang karapatan ng mamayan na magreklamo, magprotesta, o mag-organisa. Kaya, Madam Speaker, kahit na pinalitan ang probisyon that the BP 880 requiring an issuance or an application of permit in the conduct of an assembly or an activity, a public activity, pinalitan po ito ng isang notice. Isang pag-atras po yun, pag-abante sa pagkilala ng karapatan. Ngunit, sa kabilang banda, kapag ikaw po ay naglulunsad ng isang indignation protest, halimbawa, mayroon kang narinig na policy na inimplement ng umaga at nais ng inyong mga grupo, asosasyon o mga organisasyon na biglaang maglunsad ng indignation protest para kondinahin ang isang pulisiya o programang pinatupad nung araw na yon, kapag ikaw po ay hindi nakapag-notify, ibig sabihin, mayroong paglabag sa batas. This will eventually restrict the freedoms of our people in their right to redress the government. Second, Madam Speaker, yung pag-iba ng mga penal provisions dito na nagkakaroon na ng mas malala o mas mabigat na pagkakulong o mga pananagutan ng isang tao o organisasyon na lumabag sa batas na ito ay mas mahigpit at mas mabigat kumpara sa kasalukuyang estado. Sa ganitong katayuan, Madam Speaker, I voted no for this House bill. Thank you.
Honorable Zarate is recognized.
Maraming salamat, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, kapag mambabatas, bumoto po tayo ng no sa panukalang batas na ito. Kagagaling ko lang po sa City Prosecutor's Office ng Manila. Dahil nitong nakaraang linggo, ang kinatawang ito ay nakatanggap ng sumpina na ako raw ay sinampahan ng kaso ng Manila Police District sa paglabag ng Batas Pambansa bilang 880 tungkol sa nangyaring mga protesta nung dumating ang pangunahing Chief Executive ng imperialistang bansang Estados Unidos, si Donald Trump, noong November. Madam Speaker, ang kinatawang ito ang pangunahing, ang principal author ng panukalang batas upang baklasin at i-repeal ang Batas Pambansa bilang 880. Sa kadahilanan na rin nasabi ng ating naunang dalawang kasamahan na dahil ito ay batas na pinairal sa panahon ng diktadurang Marcos at hanggang ngayon ay umiiral para supilin ang karapatan ng ating mamamayan na magpahayag. Subalit, dito sa ating panukalang batas, House Bill number 6834, na sinasabi nga rito na ma-repeal ang Batas Pambansa bilang 880, napalitan naman ito at napasukan ng ilang probisyon na sa tingin ng kinatawang ito ay lalo pa at higit pang susupilin ang karapatan ng ating mamamayan na magpahayag at i-petition ng government sa kanilang mga kahilingan at kahingian. Kaya sa ganito po mga kadahilanan, Madam Speaker, nilalabanan natin ang Batas Pambansa, ang House Bill number 6834 dahil sa tingin natin hindi ito para sa kagalingan at para sa interes ng ating mamamayan. Maraming salamat po.
Madam Speaker,
Honorable Lagman is recognized.
may I know how my vote was recorded?
No vote was recorded, Congressman Lagman.
I am voting in the negative because this bill contains regressive provisions inimical to the right of free expression, of peaceful assembly, and the right to redress grievances. I shall explain my vote more extensively, and I reserve to file the same before the proper office of this chamber. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Secretary General is directed to correct the vote for Representative Lagman.
It's a negative vote,
Please indicate the negative vote.
and I reserve my right to extensively explain my negative vote.
Yes, sir. Noted, sir.
Thank you, Madam
Majority
Speaker.
Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move for the consideration on third reading on House Bill 6710. And for this purpose, may I request the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting. So move, Madam Speaker, Your Honor.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General will read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6710. An act providing for additional prohibitions to and increasing penalties for violations of Republic Act number 8484, otherwise known as the Access Devices Regulation Act of 1998. Roll call of members. Consideration House Bill number 6710. Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Adbincula, Agaraw, Agabao, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbizon, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bundok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calalang, Calderon, Calixarubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Casa France, Casa Fedenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Serapica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Coselan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, Del Oso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duwabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Enverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Buhain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Feriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortuno, Pentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Heron, Goana Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gullias, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Conghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liechon, Limcaychong, Labrigat, Lopez Benur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagalaroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangododato Suarto, Mangododato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Nunez Maliñaon, Wabinal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Bini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sancopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabellano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Suelsing Sirita, Suelsing Horacio, Suarez, Alvarado, Tambunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirley, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Beretta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villaperte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Arthur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Marcamen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri. Second call, consideration House Bill number 6710. Atienza. Lagman.
Yes, Your Honor. Madam Speaker.
With 224 members voting in the affirmative, 0 negative, and 0 abstention, the Chair declares House Bill number 6710 as having been approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we consider on third reading House Bill number 6772, and for this purpose, may I direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General will read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6772, an act ensuring the preservation and management of protected areas, amending for the purpose of Public Act number 7586, otherwise known as the National Integrated Protected Area Systems Act of 1992. Roll call of members, consideration House Bill number 6772. Abaya, Abayon, Abillanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advincula, Agaraw, Agabao, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Marevida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calalang, Calderon, Calix Rubiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Caso Franz, Caso Predenil, Catamco, Cayetano, Celeste, Sirapica, Cerilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Coanco, Collantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Cosalan, Crisologo, Cuba, Quaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, De Losa Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duwabit, Durano, Di, Elago, Inverga, Erice, Erigel, Ermita Boain, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Ferriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortuno, Fentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gatchalian, Giron, Gona Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Goriseta, Gulyas, Hernandez, Herrera D, Hofer, Halosos, Javier, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasatin, Liachon, Lee, Limkaychong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagal-Arroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Magudodato Suarto, Magudodato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Meliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez Maliñaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramirez Sato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Ropuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sancopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabillano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Silita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Si Alvarado, Tan Bunting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Shirney, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Unico, Ungab, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villapuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Vilago, Yap Arthur, Yap Melesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Zamora Marcamen, Zamora Ronaldo, Zarate, Subiri.
With 220 members voting in the affirmative, 5 negative, 0 abstention, the Chair declares House Bill 6772 as having been approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader?
Madam Speaker, I move that we consider House Bill number 6907 on third reading and direct the Secretary General to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
Is there any objection? The Chair hears none. The motion is approved. The Secretary General is directed to read the title of the bill and thereafter call the roll for nominal voting.
House Bill number 6907, an act strengthening the legal framework for the creation, perfection, determination of priority rights, and enforcement of security interests in personal property and the establishment of a notice registry. Roll call of members. Consideration House Bill number 6907. Abaya, Abayon, Abellanosa, Abu, Abueg, Acharon, Acop, Acosta, Acosta Alba, Adjong, Advingula, Agaraw, Agabaw, Aglipay Villar, Albano, Alcala, Alejano, Almario, Almonte, Alonte, Alvarez France, Alvarez Mercedes, Alvarez Pantaleon, Amante, Amatong, Andaya, Angara Castillo, Antonino, Antonio, Aquino Magsaysay, Aragones, Arbison, Arcillas, Arenas, Atienza, Aumentado, Bagaw, Bagaching, Bagilat, Banal, Barbers, Barsaga, Batawil, Batucabe, Bautista Bandigan, Belaro, Belmonte Feliciano, Belmonte Jose Christopher, Belmonte Ricardo, Benitez, Bernos, Bertiz, Biason, Billones, Biron, Bulilla, Bondok, Bordado, Bravo Anthony, Bravo Maravida, Brosas, Bulot Bigtang, Cagas, Calalang, Calderon, Calixorbiano, Caminero, Campos, Canama, Cari, Casilaw, Castelo, Caso France, Caso Pedinil, Catamco, Caetano, Celeste, Serafica, Cirilles, Chavez, Chipeco, Co, Cubanco, Colliantes, Cortés, Cortuna, Coselan, Crisólogo, Cuba, Cuaresma, Cueva, Dalipe, Datol, Daza, De Jesus, De Venecia, De Vera, Defensor, Del Mar, Del Rosario, Del Oso Montalia, Dimaporo Abdullah, Dimaporo Khalid, Duabit, Durano, Di, Ilago, Enverga, Erice, Eriguel, Ermita Buhayin, Escudero, Espina, Espino, Estrella, Eusebio, Ibardone, Fariñas, Fernando, Ferrer Juliet, Ferrer Luis, Feriol, Floirendo, Flores, Fortun, Fortuno, Pentebella, Garbin, Garcia Gwendolyn, Garcia Jose, Garcia Albano, Garin Richard, Garin Sharon, Gasataya, Gachelian, Heron, Gona Cristina, Go Mark, Gomez, Gonzaga, Gonzales Alexandria, Gonzales Aurelio Dong, Gonzales Fernando, Guruseta, Gullas, Hernandez, Herrera Hofer, Alusos, Javier, Ko, Konghun, Labad-Labad, Lacson, Lagman, Lanete, Laugan, Lasetin, Liachon, Lee, Limkaichong, Lobrigat, Lopez Benhur, Lopez Carlo, Lopez Manuel, Loyola, Macapagalaroyo, Maceda, Madrona, Malapitan, Manalo, Mangawang, Mangodadato Suarto, Mangodadato Sajid, Marcoleta, Marcos, Mariño, Marquez, Martinez, Matugas, Miliana, Mending, Mendoza, Mercado, Mirasol, Montoro, Nava, Nieto, Noel, Nograles Jericho, Nograles Carlo, Nolasco, Núñez Malañaon, Waminal, Ocampo, Olivares, Ong Edwin, Ong Henry, Ortega Pablo, Ortega Vini, Pacquiao, Paduano, Palma, Pancho, Panganiban, Panotes, Papandayan, Pichay, Pimentel, Pineda, Plaza, Primicia Sagabas, Kimbo, Radasa, Ramiresato, Ramos, Relampagos, Revilla, Roapuno, Robes, Rocamora, Rodriguez Isidro, Rodriguez Maximo, Roman, Romero, Romualdez, Romualdo, Roque, Sakdalan, Sagarbaria, Sahali, Salceda, Salimbangon, Salo, Salon, Sambar, Sancopan, Sandoval, Santos Recto, Sarmiento Cesar, Sarmiento Edgar, Sabellano, Sema, Xiao, Silverio, Singson, Swansing Estelita, Swansing Horacio, Suarez, Alvarado, Tamuting, Tan Angelina, Tan Milagrosa, Tan Sherny, Tejada, Teves, Chanco, Ting, Tiño, Tolentino, Treñas, Tugna, Tupas, Ti, Umali, Unabia, Ungab, Unico, Uy Juliet, Uy Rolando, Uy Barreta, Vargas, Vargas Alfonso, Velarde, Velasco, Velasco Catera, Veloso, Vergara, Villafuerte, Villanueva, Villarasa Suarez, Villarica, Villarin, Villago, Yap Artur, Yap Milesio, Yap Victor, Yu, Samoro Mar Carmen, Samoro Ronaldo, Sarate, Subiri.
With 225 members voting in the affirmative, 0 negative, and 0 abstention, the Chair hereby declares House Bill 6907 as having been approved on third and final reading. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, today being a Monday and pursuant to our rules, I move that we hold the privilege hour.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Privilege hour is hereby opened.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Rodel Batocave of Party List Ako Bicol, who wishes to avail of the privilege hour.
Representative Rodel Batocabe, Party List Ako Bicol, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. I rise on the matter of personal and collective privilege. One of the truisms in life of public servants is dealing with the difficult challenges in their personal lives while performing their official duties. Our public school teachers experience the same dilemma as they deal with their woes and problems while simultaneously ensuring that their students obtain the needed skills and knowledge to be successful in life. This is the reason why Republic Act 4670, or the Magna Carta for Public School Teachers, was enacted to protect the rights and privileges of our public school teachers. Section 21 of that legislation seeks to protect our public school teachers' salaries by prohibiting deductions in the monthly pay slips of our teachers unless authorized by law to ensure that our teachers enjoy their hard-earned money. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, at present, our public school teachers are continually being enticed, seduced by a plethora of credit and lending institutions. Private lending entities seeking accreditation from the Department of Education to participate in the salary deduction scheme implemented by the department are mandated by law to initially provide proof that there is a specific authority of law authorizing the enforcement of such deduction. However, as time and many administrations go by, private interest to generate more profit and less of providing service grew and perturbed the mutual trust and confidence between lenders and public school teachers. Inconsistent and sometimes conflicting policies have allowed big commercial and universal banks hiding in the corporate veil of rural and thrift banks to capitalize on the financial plight of our teachers. During the previous administration, DepEd released Memorandum Number 228 Series of 2011, dated October 14, 2011, which allowed and further expanded the entry of private lending institutions other than the duly recognized institution enforced through Section 21 of the Magna Carta. This leads to the accreditation of a total of 214 private lending institutions. This was made possible through policy loopholes that allowed even commercial banks to enter through their conduit, thrift and rural banks. This resulted, Madam Speaker, to the low actual net take-home pay and long queues of undeducted obligations in the payslip of teachers. Today, Madam Speaker and esteemed colleagues, 7 out of the 20 largest commercial and universal banks of the country are already participating in the salary deduction scheme of DepEd through their subsidiaries, to name a few: BDO, Union Bank, East West, China Bank, UCPB, and RCBC. The presence of these big banks provide a limitless source of credit that they offer to the teachers through their respective rural banks, leading to their susceptibility to overborrow. With their low interest rates and quick loan approvals, our teachers are enticed to participate in such schemes until the unjustifiable penalty fees and service charges come to hunt them down. DepEd officials and personnel, especially those in the fiscally autonomous secondary schools who are supposed to defend our teachers' rights, contribute further in the commercialization of our teachers' plight by abusing their authority and acting as collecting agent of these private banks, and are compensated either in cash or leisure accommodation. This is the reason why it is no longer surprising that the growing debt of public school teachers reached exponential levels, amounting to 300 billion pesos as reported by the Department of Education. Our gathered data provides that out of the reported 300 billion teachers' loans, as cited by the department, 177 billion are loans owed to private lending institutions, of which 112.226 billion are loans granted to entities owned and controlled by universal banks through their rural or TRIP bank subsidiaries. For example, the City Savings Bank of Union Bank, with 471,555 loans granted, amounted to 58.20 billion. East West Rural Bank of East West Banking, with 140,019 granted loans, amounted to 27.061 billion. One Network Rural Bank of BDO, with 93,834 granted loans in the amount of 14.680 billion. First Consolidated Bank, with 80,276 granted loans in the amount of 7.250 billion, and Philippine Resource Savings Bank, which was acquired by City Savings Bank, has 35,799 granted loans in the amount of 5.03 billion. The amount of 112.66 billion that have been poured to the teachers have made them awash with debts. Instead of alleviating their financial condition, it has actually aggravated their woes. With the acquisition by the City Savings Bank of Philippine Resources Banking Corporation this January 2018, City Savings Bank's loan exposure to DepEd alone amounts to a staggering 60 billion pesos. As such, this representation strongly believes that the indirect participation of big banks through their TRIP and rural conduits have led to the commercialization of our teachers' need and primary right to borrow. This representation is also disheartened to discover that the teaching and non-teaching personnel of DepEd in Region 5 have an aggregated and deducted obligation amounting to 200 million pesos from loans in private lending institutions. The prevalence of PLIs and the collection to be deducted from the salaries of our teachers have risen since 2013. The comparative payroll data of DepEd shows that from an aggregate amount of 300 million pesos payables for PLIs or private lending institution in June of 2013, our teachers now have a staggering amount of obligation in the amount of 597 million pesos in December 2017. This is only in Region 5. Adding up all salary deductions, the mandatory GSIS, PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig contribution, along with taxes, GOCC loans, and insurances, the average take-home pay of a teacher in the Bicol region alone is only 20% of their total take-home pay. Reports from online news media, Madam Speaker, state that a public school teachers group in the Bicol region complain that teachers in the region receive less than 1,000 pesos from their monthly salaries after being deducted of their loans from private lending institutions. This resulted from the unabated participation of many private lending institutions that aim to commercialize and profit from teachers who are in dire need of financial assistance. The deduction of such obligations in the salaries of our teachers should not exceed 50% of their basic salaries. Problema, Madam Speaker, ang ibang sektor na problema tungkol sa access of credit. Dito naman po, pagdating po sa ating mga guro, sobra-sobra ang pautang. While we note that the department's effort to address the problem, the present policy alternatives by the department are still inefficient to solve the immediate and long-term problems of our teachers. The financial problem that plague our teachers will continue unless our public school teachers are provided with the appropriate tools and policy interventions that are comprehensive, well-rounded, and relevant to properly address the issue of indebtedness among our public school teachers. This being said, Madam Speaker, this representation would like to use this opportunity to present some solution which can help our public school teachers. First, the queuing system implemented by the department anent the salary deduction scheme is detrimental for the financial well-being of public school teachers, as loan penalties are already charged to the monthly payslips of teachers, even if the regular deduction schedule in the salaries of public school teachers have not started. The first-in, first-served queuing system protects the interests of private lenders as it guarantees loan payments even if the payments are not paid on time. This system only increases the obligation paid by school teachers due to the compounded interest in addition to the large penalties and other fees charged by lending companies to their principal loan. The concept behind this system therefore veers away from the culture of self-restraint in relation to public school teachers' borrowings, which has been institutionalized by previous DECs, DepEd administrations to prevent public school teachers from overborrowing. Secondly, as this representation earlier stressed, Madam Speaker, the root of the problem is the abusive participation of commercial and universal banks in the salary deduction scheme through the rural and thrift banks, which have various standing memoranda of agreement with DepEd. I call for the abolition of this practice, which only existed as a policy during the previous DepEd administration, to favor banks in the salary deduction scheme implemented by the department. This agreement only bound the department to the condition set forth by the private lender, which may be harmful to the best interests of public school teachers and increase the department risk to lawsuits should DepEd wishes to strictly enforce rules and regulations supplementary to existing laws that are inconsistent with the condition stipulated in the agreements. As such, Madam Speaker, this representation shall be filing a resolution mandating the Department of Education to cease and desist from entering into memorandum of agreement and accrediting rural and thrift banks, which acts as financial conduits of commercial and universal banks, to end this vicious cycle once and for all. Altogether, the department should likewise terminate the renewal of previous memorandum of agreement between private lending institutions disqualified by law in order to cleanse itself from the allegations that DepEd officials and employees profit from the undertaking of these agreements with the above-mentioned PLIs. Lastly, the policy consideration for loan buyouts of public school teachers' outstanding loans and the protracting of loan terms to more than a year should likewise be discouraged and overturned. Loan buyout only transfer payment obligation from one lending institution to another, which obviously does not resolve the issue at hand. This transfer is also costly on the part of the public school teachers, as this process involves service fees and refinancing charges, in addition to fees and penalties accrued from the previous lender. Similarly, the lengthening of the loan payment terms is disadvantageous for public school teachers, as it increases the risk of teachers defaulting on their obligations, making them more vulnerable to penalties and fees that add up to their principal balance. Madam Speaker, it's about time that the DepEd should act on this. Otherwise, even if we increase the salaries and the benefits of our public school teachers, they will always be burdened by debts. Lagi pong mababaon sa utang ang ating mga public school teacher dahil sila po ay magandang pautangin. Wala pong risk. May sweldong mataas, kaltas sa bawat sweldo, at kung mamatay man, ay may insurance. So, practically, Madam Speaker, there is no risk when you contracted a loan with the teacher. Madam Speaker, esteemed colleagues, the plight of our public school teachers will continue and will definitely last unless decisive, coherent, and responsive steps are taken. Private interest to make profit will prevail and will continue to awas our public school teachers with financial obligation. The question, therefore, to us now is who will stand up for our teachers who, despite of their cries, are not being given the protection they need. I enjoin, therefore, Madam Speaker, the members of this August Chamber to support this initiative and help our public school teachers in freeing themselves from this vicious cycle of commercial exploitation. Thank you and good afternoon.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Rodel Batocabe to the Committee on Rules. So moved, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker. May I be recognized?
Yes, Representative Ocampo.
This is reference to the privileged speech of Congressman Batocabe. And I'm sorry that I was not recognized or seen by the speaker before that the privileged speech was referred to.
Yeah, please proceed.
Well, you know, this has
Majority
been
Leader.
Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I withdraw my previous motion to refer the privileged speech to the Committee on Rules. So move.
Yeah, the reference is deferred. I recognize Representative Ocampo.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This has been my advocacy since 2011, and this has reference to the little-known provision in the GAA, which sets the minimum take-home pay of government employees from $3,000. Now it's at the sum of $5,000 a month, and particularly because of private lending and automatic payroll deduction. And the biggest sector that is affected by this provision are our public school teachers. And this is something that I really wanted to bring to the attention of the members of the House, because in the budget message of the President for 2018, which we deliberated on in 2017, they had already removed the different private lenders as specified in the past GAAs as authorized deductions from the payroll of our government employees. And what happened was, this was the result of our meetings with DBM and the Department of Education, particularly to address this problem of so much deductions, which results in what Congressman Batocabe was saying, that majority of his teachers in a particular region was only taking home something like 20% of their take-home pay. Now, what happened was, when the final budget message was approved by Congress for 2018, the provision that was removed in the budget message of the President was restored, which means it was through Congress again that we restored what should have been the solution to truly increasing the take-home pay of our government employees. Why? You would ask why. Why would government, why would legislature legislate to keep the salaries of our government employees at a minuscule amount of 3,000, which is now at 5,000 a month. Because the tentacles of these private lenders are so far-reaching. This is truly a mega business. Tayo po, kung tayo pupunta sa bangko, napakahirap natin pag tayo kin-credit investigation. Dito po, dahil ikaw ay teacher, pinauutang ka na higit pa sa kaya mong utangin sa sweldo mo buwan-buwan. Dahil po sa provision ng automatic payroll deduction, wala po silang kahirap-hirap, nababayaran po sila na fina-facilitate po ng sarili nating mga kahero sa department sa kanilang pinapautang. Ito po talagang dapat usisain, pag-aralan at pakialaman ng ating Kongreso. Dahil po kahit na anong pagtataas ng sweldo na ibibigay natin sa mga empleyado natin, na hirap tayo maghanap para itaas ang sweldo ng ating mga kawani sa gobyerno, nauuwi lang po sa private lenders. Ang mga inuutang po ng mga teachers nung araw ay para po sa tuition ng kanilang mga anak. Ngayon po, pambili ng sasakyan, pambiyahe, pambili ng mga electronics, mga gadgets. Yun po naging problema na ngayon na dapat po nating usisain. Kaya sinasamahan ko po si Congressman Batucabe na napapanahon na tayong lahat ay magising sa maanumalyang sitwasyon na ito na nagpapahirap sa ating mga empleyado, nagpapawala sa kanilang inspirasyon, dedikasyon sa trabaho, dahil ang inaatubag po nila ngayon ay ang pagbabayad ng kanilang mga pagkautang, at dahil sa buwan-buwan na inuuwi nila ay hindi sasapat para mabuhay po ng maayos ang kanilang sarili at pamilya. Kaya maraming salamat din po kay Congressman Batucabe na sa kanyang masusing research ay sa mas maayos na paraan ay maparating sa atin ang katotohanan na hinaharap ng ating mga kawani sa gobyerno, partikular ang mga teachers. Dapat nga po, Congressman Batucabe, ang GSIS na ay handang-handa upang maging responsable sa pangkalahatang pagkautang ng mga teachers na ito dahil sila ang mayoryang member ng GSIS. Ngunit, ang hindi po nating alam, last year po, more than 28,000 teachers who retired did not get the retirement pay. Why? Because in the hierarchy of paying the debts of the teachers, even GSIS, which is a statutory obligation or deduction, sila po ay nasa huli sa hierarchy ng babayaran ng mga pagkakautang ng mga teachers. Dahil palakasan din po doon sa kahera na nag-aasikaso po ng mga cheque ng mga teachers na yan. Kaya, kailangan po pagtulungan nating lahat para po, kung sinasabi natin ng mga teachers natin, ng mga bagong bayani, kung hindi naman po sila inspiradong magturo, ano naman po magiging resulta sa mga batang tinuturuan nila.
Thank you for that manifestation, Representative Ocampo. Any reply?
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Representative Batucabe.
First of all, I'd like to thank the gentle lady from Manila for supporting this advocacy of mine. Really, it is true. There is a surplus of availability of credit. Our public school teachers are being seduced by all these credit and lending institutions. Tama po, before, ang inuutang lang po ng public school teacher yung pang-tuition o kung may sakit. Ngayon, dahil napakarami po na gustong magpautang, ay kahit ano-ano na lang pwedeng utangin. Tama po sinabi po ng ating buting kinatawan sa Manila na pati yung mga gadgets, yung biyahe, yung TV, yung sasakyan, motor, meron na po available. There is over-availability of credit. Before, we talk about problems of access to credit. But with respect to the public school teachers, we have oversupply of credit. And you know why it cannot be stopped? Unless we have the political will, Madam Speaker. This is a 300 billion peso business. So I think we have to put a stop. Kasi tama po si Congresswoman Ocampo. Kung hindi po natin mahihinto to, kahit ilang beses po natin taasan ang mga sweldo ng mga guro, kahit ilang beses po natin dagdagan ang kanilang mga benepisyo, ay kung matuloy pa rin sila mangungutang, ay masasadlak pa rin po sila sa kahirapan. As of now, it is a reality. More or less, the take-home pay of an ordinary teacher amounts only to about 20% in the Bicol region. The entry ang entry level ng teacher po is salary grade 11. So more or less, we have already increased the salary of our teacher. We have already given them dignity before they're complaining that they're not given the dignity due to our public school teachers. But through time, in fairness to the previous Congresses, we have already given them a decent take-home pay. Unfortunately, ang reality po ay hindi ganon kasi nasasadlak po sa utang ang ating mga guro.
Well, Madam Speaker, I would like to, may I be recognized? I'd like to add
Yes,
that
Representative Ocampo.
the cost of lending to teachers is usurious. The interest rates that they're paying for their loans go as high as almost 40% per annum. And their loans are evergreen, meaning to say they are being lent money forever may utang. Hindi natatapos ang kanilang pagkautang. Hindi pa po tapos ang kanilang utang. Umuutang na naman po. Kaya ito po ay talagang dapat po nating gawa ng paraan. At kung ang naging aksyon ng Kongreso sa huling budget natin ay ibinalik yung provision na nagpapahirap sa mga teachers, ano pa po ba dapat nating gawin? Naging it was a very bold step for the DBM to put that to omit those private lenders from the budget message of the President. And yet, when it was approved, it was restored. So, tayo na po ay bahagi ng problema dahil hindi natin nakikita at nagiging bahagi tayo, kasangkapan tayo sa pamamagitan ng we allow it to happen because we approve it here that they are allowable deductions from the salaries of our employees. And may I just add, for the information of our colleagues, the Department of Education, although there is a minimum take-home pay provision of 5,000 a year, they have increased it. They did not take it as the minimum. They went up. Like the PNP, for example, on their own, their minimum take-home pay is 8,000. And they have increased it to 10,000 because the reason is they do not want their policemen to go home with no money. They don't want that to be an excuse for our policemen to be corrupt. So I think in the next budget hearing, in the next budget for 2019, kung collective tayo na yun ang ating posisyon sa ating pangangampanya at pagmumulat sa ating mga kasamahan, baka po sa budget message ng 2019 ay maibalik natin, pag maiparating natin ulit sa DBM, na ito po'y collective position na ngayon ng Kongreso. So thank you very much.
Thank
Madam
you for
Speaker.
pointing that out, gentle lady from Manila. Indeed, I regret that I was also a part of this system. And hopefully, in the next budget deliberations, we will be able to carefully guard this insertion so that this practice will not be repeated again. And of course, hindi lang po ang ating mga guro. Dinagdagan na po ang sweldo ng ating mga kawal at ang ating mga pulis. And hindi po malayo that they will be again attracted by these loan sharks from our lending companies. So we should also be vigilant against these nefarious practices in order to protect our public servants. For after all, if their service will be affected because of the burden of debts or obligations they have, it is our people who will suffer. In the case of our school children, our pupils, and rather the school teacher, our pupils, and in the case of our police personnel, the general public that they serve. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Botakabe and its interpellations to the Committee on Rules. So move, Madam Speaker.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable John Bertis III, who wishes to avail of the privilege hour.
The Honorable Aniceto John Bertis III, Party List Acts OFW, is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, my fellow honorable colleague. Madam Speaker, I rise on a matter of personal privilege. There is now tremendous pressure on our colleagues in the executive branch to either lift or modify the suspension and the deployment of Filipino workers to Kuwait. The pressure appears to be coming from within the recruitment industry as well as externally from the government of Kuwait itself. Of course, such pressure is to be expected considering that so many people have come to depend on the continuous flow of Filipino domestic workers to and from Kuwait. Perhaps this is a good time for us to look at how another labor-sending country, namely Indonesia, dealt with incidents of maltreatment involving their own domestic workers. In numerous times in the past, and more recently in 2015, the Indonesian government imposed deployment bans, particularly for their domestic workers, to countries where cases of abuse and maltreatment had been escalating. There was a time when the Kuwait government sent a minister to talk to the Indonesian government. Quote, "The royal family and the people of Kuwait are in need of domestic helpers from Indonesia. We hope that, especially for Kuwait, the Indonesian government can consider issuing a special policy," unquote. Despite this appeal, Indonesia stood firm and said that it won't send domestic workers to Middle East countries, especially Kuwait, unless they are formal workers with a specific skill, citing the lack of improvement in the treatment not only of Indonesian workers, but also domestic workers from other countries. During the past few days, our country has shown the same moral backbone as Indonesia, thanks to President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. And while the Kuwait government has taken offense in what President had said, citing its, unquote, clean, unquote, human rights records, Nejud Al-Yagut, a columnist of Kuwait Times, had this to say: "Nobody is insulting us. In fact, I am amazed at how long it took for this ban to be in place. Our Filipino brothers and sisters have been extremely patient in implementing this ban. Decades of patience on their part is highly commendable, and still, according to the embassy here, the order is not yet official. The time is upon us to place our egos aside and address the obvious elephant in the room. Why we are closing our eyes. Everywhere I go, I hear new incidents about domestic workers from various nations seeking help. Madam Speaker, it is not only Kuwait that has been closing its eyes on such report of abuses. As far back as November 2016, I already filed a resolution seeking a moratorium on the deployment of domestic workers to Kuwait because of the sheer number of runaway OFWs seeking refuge in our embassy shelters. In fact, the House Committee on OFW Affairs approved this resolution at the committee level and came out with unanimous decisions to ask the Labor Department to impose the moratorium. In January of 2017, Kuwait government ordered the execution of our very own Jakatia Pawa, despite her protestations of innocence for the crime of murder. Our government did not protest the executions, and we did not consider imposing a moratorium even during that time. Despite of all these welfare cases and monthly repatriations of 300 to 400 distressed workers from Kuwait, we close to remain silent, and our labor office in Kuwait and the POEA here in Manila even increased the number of job orders for domestic workers bound for that country. Madam Speaker, in 2016, out of 67,623 new hired OFWs bound for Kuwait, 55,377 of them were hired as domestic workers. Our annual deployment of skilled and household services workers to Kuwait continues to rise from 70,098 in 2014 to 109,615 in 2016. According to Kuwaiti government, there are 276,000 OFWs in their country. And according to the data of Office of the Undersecretary for Migrant Workers Affairs, the total number of household services workers, or HSWs, there is at least 165,000. And this is where we must pause and reflect on the following. Why did we keep sending domestic workers to Kuwait despite the absence of a labor agreement for their welfare and protection? Section 4 of Republic Act 8042 as amended by Section 3 of Republic Act 122, paragraph A, B, and C. Why do we continuously choose quantity over quality in relation to the hiring of domestic workers to Kuwait in other Middle East countries as well? Why must it take no less than the President of the Philippines to shine the harsh and tragic light on 7 deaths of Filipino workers in Kuwait within less than 2 months? I ask this question, Madam Speaker, because no less than the dignity of our country and its workers are at stake. And I'm worried because business interests and fear of offending a valued ally may overcome the moral backbone that we now courageously present to the world and to our people. I stand before you to say that our national interest lies always and clearly in upholding the rights and welfare of the Filipino workers, especially those employed in the most vulnerable and risky occupations. Contained in Administrative Order Number 25, signed by Labor Secretary Sylvester Bello III, are 7 names of OFW who recently died in Kuwait. First, Ms. Lisel Truz Hukdong, Ms. Vanessa Carisha Esguera, Ms. Arlene Castillo Manzano, Maria Fe Saililing Librada, Evin Richie Encarnacion, Mr. Patrick Sunga, Ms. Mira Luna Hontilla. These cases are now under investigation by both Kuwait authorities and our own embassy personnel. 3 of these deaths were suicide committed in their employer's home. All tragic incidents took place from December 2017 to January this year. Less than 2 months, 7 deaths, all in Kuwait. Madam Speaker, why must it take a deployment ban for DOLE and DFA to look into these cases? When Vanessa Esguera and Lisel Hukdong allegedly committed suicide in their employer's home in December, what was done to prevent a 3rd suicide in January? And with the DOLE allowing the deployment of domestic workers with OEC, what assurance can we provide their family that there are sufficient measures to prevent their abuse? And what we have done since the imposition of deployment ban to identify and correct our own inefficiency in ensuring the protection of domestic workers not only in Kuwait but also throughout the Middle East and some part of Asia. I believe that this is in the mutual interest of the Philippines and Kuwait to have a long and frank discussion about the capacity of both countries in ensuring protections of our domestic workers. But we also need similar long, frank discussion about our own policies governing domestic worker here at home. Such discussion must lead to the signing of bilateral agreement that will reflect the strong commitment of both countries to migrant workers' rights. Unless such an agreement is forged, then I ask our government to stand firm on the suspensions of the deployment of Filipino domestic workers to Kuwait. We have acted irresponsibly in declaring such suspension. I don't think so. Since June 2016, our Philippine Embassy has already reaching out to its Kuwaiti counterparts, seeking a dialogue and a firm response to escalating cases of abuses and contract violations. Ambassador Rene Villa wrote a letter to the Ministry of Interior detailing a specific concern involving the treatment of our domestic workers. That letter was completely ignored by Kuwaiti government. More than a week ago, the cabinet convened in Kuwait to discuss President Duterte's call for the talks between the two countries, with the deployment ban serving as trigger for such discussions. Would this have happened without the deployment ban? I don't think so. Dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let us unite behind our President in his call for better protections of our migrant workers. This is the first time that no less than the President of the Philippines has called a task a distinguished friend and ally to come to an aid for our OFWs. We must show Kuwait and other labor-receiving countries that under these administrations, the rights and welfare of its citizens abroad are paramount. Isn't it ironic that the President, that the very President that the international community has been painting as the #1 violator of human rights is the only president that has openly and publicly declared his displeasure over the plight of distressed OFWs in Kuwait? I, for one, as the lone elected OFW representative in Congress, I'm very proud to have Tatay Digong as our president and tatay of all OFWs. I ask Dole to show the same pride and trust in the President by standing firm on its suspension order and producing facts and evidences to show that much work has to be done by both sides to better protect our domestic workers in Kuwait. I ask the DFA to support the Philippine Ambassador to Kuwait as he takes on the diplomatic challenges of keeping the doors open for bilateral discussion. I ask our workers to apply for jobs in Kuwait to understand that this impasse is for their own long-term benefit and protections. I ask our friends in the recruitment industry to consider national dignity first and foremost and serve as partners of our own government in lighting the torch of migrant worker rights throughout the world. And I ask and appeal to my fellow legislators, let us support the President. Let us support his efforts to obtain a clearer and more effective roadmap for migrant workers, rights and protections with Kuwait as well as other countries. If we weaken our resolve or cave in to too much pressure, then we are surrendering our OFWs to a fate of never-ending horrors. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Let us continue to pray for the safety and welfare of our modern-day heroes, especially those maltreated domestic workers in Kuwait and other countries in the Middle East. Magandang gabi po sa inyong lahat.
Thank you, Representative Bertis. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Bertis to the Committee on Rules.
Same is referred to the Committee on Rules.
Madam Speaker, I move that we recognize the Honorable Salvador Belaro Jr. of Unang Education Party List who wishes to avail of the privilege R.
Representative Salvador Belaro Jr., Party List, Unang Education, is recognized.
It is one of life's ironies that the clearest of thinking happens in times of crisis. This is usually so because when we are so down, it is also the time for hindsight and foresight, assessment and analysis, evaluation and prescription. The past few months, we witnessed a crisis in leadership at the Commission on Higher Education, or CHED. It apparently started with the resignation of then Chairman Patricia Licuanan, followed by the resignation of Director Marquis last week. There appears to be more to these developments than what is obvious. Much, much more. Madam Speaker, my dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Today, I will be speaking on a matter which will complement the earlier speech of Congressman Batocabe and the discourse on basic education of Congresswoman Ocampo. But I will be talking about higher education. My dear colleagues, I stand here before you today as a proud member of the most responsive Congress in recent history in enacting life-changing legislations. In the field of education, this Congress did that with two game-changing legislations, the Free College Education Law and the Free Wi-Fi in Public Places Law. Thanks to our beloved Speaker, Pantaleon Alvarez, who has just the right mix of will and vision, our Majority Leader, Rodolfo Fariñas, who makes things happen, the entire House leadership, our very proactive Chairman of Higher Education, Ann Hofer, of Communications and Information Technology, Victoria Yap, and of Appropriations, Carlo Nograles, my fellow co-authors of said bills, and to all of you, my dear colleagues, for passing these legislations that will never be forgotten. In fact, they are revolutionary legislations. They are revolutionary because they will change the Philippine educational landscape. With free college education, the perennial problem of access to education will now shift to ensuring quality education. And as far as the state is concerned, that college education will be responsive to national developmental goals. They will change the way we teach, because with free internet, a lot of traditional school tasks will be rendered obsolete. Our books, our classrooms, and our teaching methods will become borderless. They will change the way we teach, because with internet, distance will no longer be a hindrance to access to education. Even the physical submission of reports from provincial to national offices is rendered unnecessary, as they can now be made online. These developments should rightfully define the administration of President Rodrigo Duterte as that which has revolutionized Philippine education, and the 17th Congress as the one which made that possible. This afternoon, I wish to discuss three educational concerns that require urgent attention if we are to consummate the revolution in education that we started. The first is CHED's lacking a graduate tracer study. What is a tracer study, ladies and gentlemen? Simply put, it refers to the data on the accomplishments of CHED, relating in particular to the employability of its graduates. It is an index of performance of any agency, which measures efficiency and accountability of the funds given to an agency vis-a-vis its goals. Such study would answer the questions that matter, such as, what happened to our college graduates, say 2 years after graduation or after a defined time frame? Were they employed? If yes, were they employed in jobs related to their college courses? During the last budget hearing, ladies and gentlemen, this representation called the attention of CHED on this matter. And in fairness to them, I was assured that they will attend to the matter. How soon it will be attended to, I am not sure. At this juncture of our national history, where we just instituted various legislative reforms in education, the significance of such tracer study is paramount. For one, With respect to the free college education law, the success of such law would be dependent on a proper diagnosis of how college education fared in the Philippines in the previous years, especially in providing employment to our citizens. We need evidence and hard facts to substantiate the policies that will be instituted by CHED. This representation most respectfully submits that the determination of courses that will be shouldered by the state under the free college education law should proceed from real data and correct analysis of the data emanating from such study, and not from guesswork. Otherwise, we will be witnessing the free college education law metamorphosing into an avenue for massive wastage of public funds and inefficient allocation of government resources. Such tracer study is also important, as it should affect policies that will be formulated with respect to the other significant legislation in recent history, the law providing for K-12. There is no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, of its good intentions, that it will make Philippine educational standards at par with the rest of the world in this era of globalization and ASEAN integration, and that it will result to K-12 graduates who are already capable of being absorbed by the labor market. 2 years after its full implementation, we as a nation still need to be fully apprised of where it is going. Then, there is the curious case of TESDA, the agency tasked by law with, among others, the development of technicians, middle level, and paraprofessionals in the country. While it appears to be effective in job generation, the word, ladies and gentlemen, is appears. It is most respectfully submitted that the programs of TESDA would be optimized if it will be done in coordination with the policies of both the Department of Education and the Commission on Higher Education. All the three agencies are tasked with a certain aspect of our educational system, and in view of the aforementioned developments, it is now more than ever that they need to talk to each other to synchronize our country's policies on education. That way, the three of them could altogether achieve gains which will be more than the summation of all the achievements of each of the three agencies taken altogether. The second problem that I wish CHED would focus its attention is the equally urgent need to computerize and create an online portals for its records and to update its management information system. I will give you a specific example, ladies and gentlemen. If you call CHED right now and ask whether a certain school is fake or not, there is a chance that you will not get a correct answer. This is so as the records of CHED in this regard are not updated and not comprehensive, especially with respect to schools which are just undergoing the accreditation process. Now, let us imagine that all such basic data relating to schools, students, graduates, faculty, and course offerings could be made available online. It will be a whole new world. Fake diplomas, fake schools, fake credentials. These would be things of the past. The same will happen if we can transport online the status of scholarship and teaching applications. That would mean a lot of savings and would also prevent corruption. Now, more than ever, CHED should urgently address this problem in view of the approval of the free Wi-Fi law. As the law is now about to be implemented, CHED should already roll out the necessary preparations that would make its services in sync with the internet. The last, ladies and gentlemen, last and third, is the inordinate delay in the release of scholarship funds. It is public knowledge that payment to the scholars of various grants takes at least 1 year, if you are lucky. If you are unlucky, more than that. In this regard, the latest victims are the more than 9,500 teacher scholars who are affected by the onset of our senior high school program. When asked about this, the former chairman told us that the scholarship division of CHED is lacking in personnel. To the mind of this representation, being a former recipient of government scholarship funds himself, that is an answer which betrayed her lack of heart for the scholars. In fact, that was very insensitive. Scholarship funds are given to those who need them, and that there is a time frame for responding for their needs. Such answer smacks of callousness to such time-bound necessity. Scholarship funds cannot be late, since if delay would be allowed, the scholars would go hungry and left at the mercy of forces beyond their control. The tragedy of Cristel Tejada, the UP student who committed suicide for not getting a scholarship, is an example of such vulnerability to uncontrollable forces. In view of this, ladies and gentlemen, it may be about time that this august body consider making it a criminal offense to delay without just cause the release of such scholarship funds, or at least impose penalties for such delay. In this regard, the Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act may appropriately be amended to include such delays as one of the punishable offenses under the Act. While a crisis shows the worst, it also brings out the best in possibilities. This is exactly the message of the crisis in leadership at the CHED. It brought to the fore the pressing problems it confronts and needs to confront, as well as their urgency and need for resolution. My dear colleagues, these developments in the field of education also convey to us a message for a call to action to exercise our job of congressional oversight and to exercise our plenary duty to institute legislative reforms. Indeed, it is high time for a congressional investigation in aid of legislation to inquire whether a reorganization of the existing Department of Education, Commission on Higher Education, and the Technical Skills in Development Authority, TESDA, is in order, as to whether these agencies of the government could be merged into a single entity, akin to their monolithic predecessor, the Department of Education, Culture, and Sports. Thus, immediately after this privileged speech, this representation is filing a resolution calling for an investigation in aid of legislation as to the propriety of merging the said three agencies into one, and or the amendment of the existing CHED Charter, RA 7722, so that said law could be made attuned to the need for synchronization of the country's educational policies. In view of the implementation of the K-12 program, free college education law, and ASEAN integration, among others. In this regard, special mention is Section 5 of RA 7722, which confers upon the commissioners of the CHED a fixed term when all their counterparts at the DepEd serve at the pleasure of the President. Indeed, one of the good things that a crisis brings is that it pushes all of us to critical thinking, which in turn leads to purposive doing, a sure indicator that change is coming. My dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, with the fervent hope that we shall continue to become agents of change, I wish to thank you once again this afternoon for lending me not only your ears, but also your hearts and brains. Thank you very much. Long live Philippine education. Long live the 17th Congress. Long live the Philippines. Thank you, and more power.
Thank you, Representative Belaro Jr., Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Bilaro to the Committee on Rules.
The same is referred to the Committee on Rules. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that to recognize the Honorable Arnulfo Teves Jr. of the 3rd District of Negros Oriental, who wishes to avail of the privilege R.
Honorable Arnolfo Teves is hereby recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Good afternoon, everybody. I rise here again today to speak on condonation, doctrine, and graft. The condonation doctrine is what we call the Aguinaldo Doctrine. Sa alam ko sa history nito, na-apply ito dati on a case of something like coup d'etat. So, itong condonation doctrine, pag nagkasala ka, sabay binoto ka ng tao, mapapawalang sala yung administrative cases mo. But this should not apply to graft cases. Dahil kung in-apply natin ito sa graft cases, ang gagawin ng tao, magnanakaw ka, bibili ka ng boto, napawalang sala ka, nanalo ka, sabay napawalang sala ka. Then it will create a vicious cycle. Nakaw ka lang ng nakaw, bili ka lang ng bili ng boto, parati kang nananalo, parati kang napapawalang sala. Diba? It's very, very wrong. Other than that, this doctrine is a judicial legislation. Wala itong ginawang batas na nanggaling sa Kongreso. So technically, it's encroaching on our powers of Congress to make the laws. Dapat tayo sa Kongreso hindi pumayag dito. I don't know if we know anybody close to us or what who has benefited from this, but nevertheless, mali ito dahil dapat lahat ng batas nang gagaling sa Kongreso at hindi gawa-gawa laman ng hudikatura, which what we term as judicial legislation. Isa pa, in the case of Conchita Carpio Morales versus Binay, di ba? Meron silang ginawang parang progressive. Yung nakaraang mga kaso, it will not apply. Yung bagong kaso, after it would apply. Diba? Dapat dalawa lang pagpilian natin. It's either we apply it or we don't. I would rather we don't. Because if we apply it to all, then again, we are encouraging pagdanakaw. Dahil yun na nga, magnakaw ka, bili ka ng boto, manalo ka, wala ka na naman sala, nakaw ka na naman ulit. It's crazy. We should stop doing this. I plan to make a letter addressed to the justices of the Supreme Court. Sana naman may sumuporta na mga kasamahan natin dito. Tulungan nyo ako, pirmahan itong sulat na ito, padala natin sa Supreme Court, and hopefully we can straighten things up and make our country better. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
Thank you, Representative Teves, Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the speech of the Honorable Teves to the Committee on Rules.
The same is referred to the Committee on Rules.
Madam Speaker, for our final privilege speech, I move that we extend the privilege R to another 15 minutes.
15 minutes extension to the privilege hour.
Madam Speaker, I move that to recognize the last to avail of the privilege R, the Honorable Gary Haliano of Party List Magdalo.
Party List Representative Magdalo, Representative Gary C. Alejano is recognized.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. What makes the prey so vulnerable is not so much as it lacking any sort of defensive capabilities, as much as it is the predator having far superior weaponry. Translated in our country's defense-related woes, we can infer that the independence we value, the peace we enjoy, the sovereignty that we exercise has been preyed upon time and again, not because of our blatant helplessness, but rather because compared to those who dare trample our dignity as a nation, our capacity to defend ourselves is dwarfed by the bargaining might of our oppressors. Even more troubling is our government's failure to sufficiently equip our troops to more effectively combat internal threats. Our armed units, whose courage and proficiency I do not doubt, have been bogged down by defective and hand-me-downs and ultimately outdated equipment. I can only imagine the expeditious culmination of dangerous operations and the greater number of lives that could have been preserved if only our forces have for themselves the hardware that better serve its desired purpose. Indeed, there is no denying that we have long been neglecting our now decrepit defense capabilities, and this has exposed us to various glaring weaknesses that enemies from within and without are all too willing to exploit. Defense has always been a national necessity. 40 years ago, Presidential Decree 415 was issued establishing a Philippine Self-Reliance Defense Posture Program, or SRDP, which aimed to develop a defense system of self-respecting, independent nature, relying solely on the country's capabilities and resources. In 2003, PD 415 has got some much-needed overhaul by means of Government Procurement Policy Board Resolution number 06-2003, but only in terms of procurement and funding schemes. Judging by the state of our defense capabilities, PD 415 has got progress the SRDP program enough to alleviate our dire need for a reliable indigenous defense industry. This is most likely the effects of foreign intervention on our foreign policy and development brought about by dependence on external, mostly American support for defense requirements. The country's overdependence on its allies has taken our armed forces, once the envy of Asia during the 1960s, into unfathomable lows. This once dominant past, however, cannot be overstated, since we owe such strength not from our indigenous defense productions, but to transfers of surplus American weaponry. The Mutual Defense Treaty with the United States and our dependence on their military assistance and logistical support blinded the previous administrations to the stark reality that such arrangements are inadequate and may not actually last in the long run. What has become of this overconfidence is the current dilemma we collectively suffer. In the current SRDP program, an annual appropriation of some hundreds millions is allocated to pump prime the defense industry. This is to provide for the necessary financial support to spur research and development in cooperation with local defense industries, yet it has only resulted to a defense industry which is meager at best. Concomitantly, there has been no clear-cut direction as to how the current SRDP program is going despite its recent revival. Even with the publication of a 20-year strategic plan by the Armed Forces of the Philippines and the 2013 revival of the DND's SRDP advocacy, the program continues to stagnate. Moreover, what few reputable local defense manufacturers we have often lost out against its foreign competitors in the bidding and procurement processes, since their foreign counterparts are able to lower their prices more than what's possible for local manufacturers, since production costs in the country is more costly. And kasama pa doon, mga kasamahan, ang provision ng ating mga batas, kasama na yung modernization program, ay hindi po makapag-compete ang mga local manufacturers. In sum, following 4 decades of more than 4 billion worth of expenses in various projects, the program still failed to achieve its primary goals, and several established industries were not sustained. The problems which plague it were the inability to sustain demand for the defense industry, a decline in government support, lack of upstream industries, and the lack of a clear and definite SRDP program strategy. Clearly, we are running out of time to fill the gaping holes of our national security. In the midst of rapidly evolving security situations in and out of the country, we are placed in a precarious position as we remain unable to effectively address forces that continue to threaten our peace. In light of this, I urge all of you, my colleagues, to elevate PD 415 to a Republic Act in order to give it the full weight and force of a statute approved by the Chief Executive. Not only that, but also to authorize the establishment of a dedicated research and development agency that shall be referred to as the Defense Research and Development Agency. This agency will be under the supervision of the Department of National Defense and shall possess corporate powers to enable it to venture into partnerships with private and, more importantly, local manufacturers. Also, by having the requisite training and education in defense science, technology, and acquisition, the proposed DRDA is fully equipped to undertake the responsibilities of being the DND's foremost procurement arm. Never shall our defense establishment procurement processes be backed down again by insufficient expertise and downright incompetence that could be taken advantage of by defense contractors and dealers. We must ensure that the procurement of our defense material is at par with the highest international standards and is ultimately based on technical expertise on such matters. The DRDA, as the DND's procurement arm, shall commit itself to this goal. A defense research and development agency is not exactly a new concept. In fact, many of our neighboring countries have already instituted their own dedicated and indigenous defense research and development organizations, such as Singapore's Defense Science and Technology Agency and South Korea's Defense Acquisition Program Administration. The establishment of these reputable agencies exemplify just how intense this state's appreciation of a self-reliant defense posture is for the advancement of their national security and survival. The implications of having a similar agency with technical expertise of our own cannot, not in this age of increasing external threats, ever be discounted. Its benefits, if implemented with utmost care and dedication for excellence, will provide for our varied defense requirements a much-needed boost to keep up with the advances of our regional neighbors. The proposed agency, I foresee, will not only yield gains on defense-related technologies, as evidenced by the United States Defense and Development Agency, whose project have provided significant technologies that influence many non-military fields, such as computer networking, even the basis for the modern internet, and the graphical user interfaces in information technology. True enough, whatever reservations that we might have for establishing a research and development agency of our own should at least be diminished by such lucrative prospects. In view of the aforementioned, I reiterate the AFP's foremost trust in establishing a credible SRDP program, which is to produce locally, when feasible, material for our defense forces through partnership between the military and civilian establishments, while importing those that cannot be locally produced with the ultimate objective of acquiring the technology for the production of this material. Paramount to this objective is the primordial role of the military and government agencies of providing technical and financial assistance to civilian defense manufacturers and also to our scientists. This simply is the goal of my proposed bill. With China breathing down our necks as it looms large over our territorial waters, we have got no time
nor enough reason to delay the development of our defensive capabilities any longer than we already did. We should not stand idly by as our troops struggle to scrape for the bare necessities of defending our homeland. We should not be lulled into complacency by this fragile peace that we hold for now, knowing that any time it might shatter. We must face the challenges ahead of us in a position of strength. We stand right now in a moral, even existential quandary of either living as a mule of greater powers or as a sovereign state with full control of her destiny. I ultimately choose to fight, to stand, like our heroes of aeons past, against the tyranny of evil men who dare desecrate the sacred shores we call our home. I call for the exhaustion of all possible means to not let fear cow us into duplicitous deals with ravenous beasts clad in human flesh. We shall have the means to stave off those who attempt to poison and destroy our nation. As our forebears have paid a steep price for our independence, so shall we pay the price of keeping it. Let us elevate PD 415 as a statute and establish the Defense Research and Development Agency. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Mabuhay.
Thank you, Representative Alejano. Majority Leader.
Madam Speaker, I move that we refer the privileged speech of the Honorable Alejano to the Committee on Rules.
The privileged speech of Representative Alejano is hereby referred to the Committee on Rules.
Madam Speaker, with no other member who wishes to avail of the privilege R, I move that we terminate the privilege R.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Motion is approved.
Madam Speaker, I move for the change of referral of the following measures. House Bill numbers 943, 2603, 2605, 3680, 4467, 4905, 5570, 5804, 5851 from the Committee on Public Works and Highways to the Committee on Public Works and Highways and Ways and Means. House Bill number 3339 from the Committee on Agriculture and Food to the Committee on Health. House Bill 6732 from the Committee on Natural Resources to the Committee on Government Enterprises and Privatization. House Bill 6909 from the Committee on Local Government to the Committee on Transportation. House Bill 6957 from the Committee on Justice to the Committee on Population and Family Relations. So moved, Madam Speaker.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The same is approved.
Madam Speaker, I move that we adjourn session to February 6, tomorrow.
Is there any objection? The chair hears none. Is there any objection? The chair hears none. The session is adjourned until 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Ano yung pinull out? Kita na mo sa mga abogado ni abogado ni Coco.